Okay, welcome back. We're almost through our scripts. We have one more after this one. A couple of Firefly scripts I'll show live. But otherwise, it's a nice package of getting to know Grasshopper's ribbon tools with a few key plugins and key players, I think, in the online video series. So I'm getting excited to kind of wrap this up, and then about a 3 to 5 hour period, I'm going to try and run through it all live for MGSM, and then certainly for my students next week at KCAI. So Octree is an interesting way to build some geometries and forms. You can see this building that's been built. I won't take credit from it. OM exclamation mark OM. I just think it's fantastic. It's instrumental. The only reason I don't really watch the tutorials is because it doesn't use the bifocal plugin, and it doesn't use the extended display item names, so it takes a while. Like, I watch them now like crazy because I recognize icons, but it took a year or so before I actually was comfortable going on to those video series. But I would encourage you to take a look at them. Got great music, and I think it's really subtle and really nice to watch. So just turn this off, and we'll take a look at what we actually have. The geometry that was imported is actually a torus to start, so sometimes you'll find I do depend on a 3DM file, or at least I internalize that data. And basically they populated it and fly through this in real time. They use a wonderful Octree node, which needs points, a square, and a group. And the square, you would want to either have it true or have it false. If I click that, it's going to change the whole script, and I have to think if we're already running at those milliseconds. You see, it's flattened it in. Let's move it back to true. And actually, I think I double-clicked, and it's going to run again. But the profiler's on here, so you can see this. I think what I'll do is just lock down, toggle off, go to true, and then toggle on. That way the script will run when it's just a little technique of using your scroll wheel to get some special fast buttons up. Really nice that they populated those boxes from those points to squares that become groups. Nice little Octree tool that joins them all together. You're going to find that outputting it, you have 100 boxes that are coming through, 100 being because you have a 100 count. The geometry is then found its middle area, its scale to that area, which is interesting. So you have another parameter that you can play off of here. Then they're going to do a solid union. That's really what slows things down. At 2.3 seconds, you're getting past the milliseconds. And I think when you're past about 50 milliseconds, you ought to consider your script and what you're actually doing. They go so far as to use the Weaver Bird Mesh and Weld node, which is actually very nice. And you can see what it's actually started to generate within there. And with that, they've gone into using a beautiful Weaver Bird loop subdivision, which we used in the last video. And then they've gone so far as to make the picture frames that influence that. So we start to get this kind of beautiful way of looking in and through here and navigating these forms. Probably this will be the thicken node. You can kind of guess that that's what you do next after you get that kind of Weaver Bird in. And you've got a couple of custom previews of colors to look at. The original boxes can be viewed, and this one can be viewed. So if I pop that back into kind of a rendered viewport, you can see that's exactly how they've ended up generating this very interesting geometry. I don't take credit for it, but with Weaver Bird applied to a couple of nodes like Octree, you're into it. And it's more, I think, thoughtful on your part, not to the point of fully scripting it and maybe going into subdivisions. But subdivisions is a node that's just going to kind of make you question why you used any of all this other stuff if you could just deal with really nice, tight line to subdivision surfaces, this kind of thing that's between NURBS, curves, and meshes. We'll talk about that in the next series. Very excited about this, and definitely own videos if you want to get in. The one person I didn't do a plug for, and I really should, it was the first 100 or so GH files that were made by Junichiro Horikawa before he went into Houdini and a bunch of other things in Unity. But his Grasshopper scripts are actually very wonderful. They're all free on GitHub. You can pull them out, and you can pull some beautiful ones. And I think I'll probably take this. I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to cancel. I'm going to take this down here and just have an opportunity for this to just remind you. I'm going to I'll put it in as a kind of asterisk 50 and just suggest the open source GH files by Junichiro Horikawa. And that just a genius of a person. And their initial videos were done in Japanese, I believe. So seeing them transfer over to English has been really exciting to see those video series. Lots of credit there. And we will talk to you soon. 5 minutes.